much time sweeping the floor if people would stop eating in the theater. You know, one time I found an entire turkey dinner under somebody's sink. It was a good meal after I scraped it off the floor, but it was not very pleasant doing so. So please, no food in the theater. And with the photography, I don't understand. When you come to theater, just enjoy theater. You don't need to take a picture because you could do it with your mind. So no photography. And the phones as well. Well, yeah, go live your life. If you got a cord long enough to bring a phone into a theater, you're doing something wrong. Turn it off, live your life. No phones.
Oh, lights. That's not it. Pretty good. I don't even have a union card.
Who's there? Who's out there?
Hello, Ernie. How have you been?
Is that you, Mr. Dennison? You know, you gotta be careful. Some of those junkies and winos from Broadway, they try to bed down the lobby overnight.
Encourage them, Ernie. The theater was meant for the common man.
It's good to see you, Mr. Dennison. You know, nobody really seemed to know where you were for a while.
Well, I've been in Maine, to a little house in the woods. I took a little time to think things out. Do you think you could find me a table and some chairs?
Sure. What do you have, a rehearsal?
Only a reading? I've started writing a new play.
I guess that's where it starts, right? With the words?
Yes, with the words.
Mr. Dennison? Mr. Dennison?
Yes,
Thank heavens, it's the right place. It was all so dark and spooky out there. I thought a real legitimate theater would be all lit up.
Well, not when it's closed, dear.
Oh, well, I suppose that's right.
Oh, Ernie! Meet my new secretary, Sally Bean, all the way from Maine.
I've never been in New York before. I mean, doesn't it make you nervous?
No.
You got scripts?
Oh, yes. I went to the duplicating place and I told them to put it on your bill, and then I walked left to Broadway, then right for 7 blocks, then right again, and now I'm here.
No trouble.
Oh, well, I mean, a funny-looking man in a big hat and high-heeled shoes asked me to have breakfast with him. But I just said it's after 1 o'clock, and I've already eaten lunch, and then I walked away very fast.
Terrific, Sally. You proved good handling herself in the big city. Now, if you can take those out of the envelope and put them on my briefcase. Over there.
Yes, sir.
The chairs, Ernie.
Yeah. Mr. Dennison, I never got to talk to you at the Cathedral, but I just wanted to say how sorry I was.
That's very kind of you.
You know, it seems like it's been so long, but it's only been a year, hasn't it?
Yes, a year. Exactly 1 year.
I'll get the chairs.
You know, you're right. There is something spooky about an empty theater.
What he said, he meant about Miss Wells, didn't he?
You knew about Monica.
Well, she was a big movie star, Mr. Dennison. The last few years, we've had movies and newspapers in Maine.
I didn't mean that the way it sounded, I meant. You knew about Monica and me.
Was this the theater?
Yes. This theater. A year ago tonight, it was all brightly lit. Marquee lights twinkling. You could feel the electricity of Broadway over the night in the air.
Ladies and gentlemen, the call is half hour to curtain. Half hour.
Half hour to curtain. The theater isn't open yet, but the first few audience members are waiting in the lobby. The people who sit in the balcony, they come in early to watch the celebrities get in. Backstage, it's a mass of flowers, telegrams, and little gifts the cast exchanges with clammy hands. I got out of my cab in the 50s. I was too nervous to sit still. I had to walk the rest of the way. I went into the little alley and through the stage door.
Good luck, Mrs. Edison. I hope it's another one like Laughter in the Dock.
I went out onto the stage heading looking for Monica, assuming she would be in her dressing room. But I was surprised to see her standing on the stage. Monica, why aren't you in your dressing room?
I'm almost ready. I just couldn't stand it in there alone anymore.
My poor darling.
I thought if I could come out here and get the feel of the theater before there was anyone in it, that maybe I could cope with it later when it was full.
It's just opening night jitters.
Is that what it is? I thought maybe it was garden variety seasickness. Like the people on the Titanic had when the band played Nearer My God to Thee. Alex, what if I forget my lines? I know I'll forget my lines. I'll go blank the second I walk on stage.
No, you'll be marvelous.
They'll laugh at me.
They're supposed to, Monica. It's a comedy.
Who invented opening nights anyways? This is barbaric. Look at that. I'm actually trembling. I never get this way when I'm doing a film.
I've told you, movies are for children. The theater is a different animal.
As long as it doesn't bite. Alex, I want to do good. I want to make you proud.
You will.
Don't. I love you, but it took me half an hour to get my lips on right. You saw this?
I'm sure everyone did. No one dares miss Meg Jones's column.
At least we don't have to keep it a secret anymore. Cat out of the bag department. Actress Monica Wells and playwright Alex Dennison have a major announcement to make tonight.
She makes it sound like we're taking back the Panama Canal.
The couple's hush-hush romance during rehearsals for the Broadway comedy Chamber Music finales tomorrow in a quiet wedding, whether the play is a hit or a flop tonight. Congratulations, fellas, and sorry to spoil the surprise.
She has a certain way of words, doesn't she?
I'd like to wring her neck. How did she know?
Well, we took out a license and got ourselves a judge. Somebody must have a big mouth.
And Meg Jones has 2 big ears. If I ever run into her...
You'll be perfectly charming. Gossip, that's their job.
Oh, there you are. There's some more wires, Miss Wells.
Thanks, Loretta. Put this in the kitty box, will you?
Monica, shouldn't you be combing out? It's 15 minutes to curtain.
The curlers. When I was a little girl, I was going to be a nurse. Where did I go wrong?
I think I'll leave before you break out into hives.
Alex, I'm scared to death.
If it helps, I love you.
That helps. To hell with my lipstick. That's it. No more butterflies. I'm going to be wonderful.
I never doubted it.
Alex, you have a lot of power in the theater. I mean, people will do pretty much whatever you say, isn't that right?
So I keep telling them, but if you're asking me to bribe the critics or...
Nothing like that. But you could keep someone from, say, working, if you wanted to.
If I was vindictive instead of the tender-hearted creature you come to adore, what's this all about? Someone put pepper in your face powder.
No, just wondering.
Monica, you're serious. Why?
Oh, Lord, the curlers. Did I tell my dresser to iron that second act costume? Alex, I need to go. I love you, and what do they say in the legitimate theater? Break a leg.
10 minutes to blast off. I've given my last note. How's Monica?
Traditional response, Lloyd, she's terrified.
Well, I just talked to our leading man. David's making room on a shelf for a Tony.
Good. Let him keep thinking he's a star.
I just hope they do justice to the words.
It's just a little commercial comedy, Lloyd. Nothing cosmic. If we're a hit, fine. If not, we'll survive.
Either way, I'm grateful for having a shot directing it.
Hey, don't get maudlin with me. You did a good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes. The call is 2 minutes. Places, please.
Well, that's it. Where are you gonna watch? In the back of the house or the wings?
Watch! You've got to be kidding. That's cruel and unusual punishment, my friend. see, Sally, I can't sit still and watch my own opening nights. It's too nerve-wracking. Those months and sometimes years of work. And if the critic has a stomachache or a fight with his wife before the show, if he doesn't find it funny or dramatic or whatever, all that work is gone. So I wander. Backstage, outside, front of the house. Gentleman's lounge. That night, I waited backstage till the house went dark. Then I snuck up the stairs, and when the curtain went up, I peeked through the curtain of the front box. The set looked nice, and the actors knew the first 10 lines of the dialogue. I went down to the lobby. I talked to the doorman. Then when I couldn't stand it anymore, I went back inside. Beau Lamb, the producer, was standing in the back.
Women should never be producers.
Is it your nerves?
My feet. Men producers can stand in the back and they don't have to wear high heels.
I went out again. This time to a little coffee shop called Nora's. The coffee's rotten, but you can always get a table. I talked to Nora and I had coffee. It tasted like Swiss cheese. I came back. I sat in the gentleman's lounge where I could hear the dialogue. Well, whatever laughs were there. And then suddenly, I saw Lloyd. Hey, Lloyd, how's it going?
1 second.
Lloyd was in no condition to tell me. I went back outside. I was in front of the stage door when the first act broke, and Loretta, the stage manager, came out for some air.
Alex, how can you be out here? Everyone else is in there watching your baby being delivered.
I'm trying to forget. How did the first act go? No, don't tell me.
It went very well. Lots of laughs.
I didn't hear that. I walked around the block. When I got back, most of the audience members had gone in for the second act, but Bella was still in the lobby.
Come and watch, Alex. I'm gambling $50,000 on this show, and the least you could do is watch the opening.
I gambled 2 years' work, Bella. I'm taking the night off.
Oh, speaking of gambling, what's this I read about you and Monica in Meg Jones's column? Is it true?
Would Meg Jones lie?
Oh, amazing! I was at every single rehearsal, and I never knew you two were even, what's the word?
Keeping company.
Yes.
Well, we were discreet. Didn't want to upset any apple carts. We're going to announce it at the party tonight.
So that's why Monica wanted to give the party at her apartment.
Right, you'll be there.
Oh, of course I wouldn't miss it for the world. Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats for Act 2.
oh it's Act 2. Oh, God, let them laugh at that business with the champagne buckets.
I walked around the block again, and again, 8 times, maybe 12, I don't know. Even the panhandler stopped asking me for money. The last time, when I got back, the critics were just rushing out to make their deadlines. I tried as usual to read their expressions. Pleased, annoyed. They all looked like they had nothing on their minds but getting a cab. Inside the theater, the cast were taking their bows. Karen Daniels, she had a small part in the second act and understudied Monica. Cleo Gibbs, the comic, and then our leading man, the ever-popular David Matthews.
Nice of you to drop by. Now you applaud. Where were you when we needed laughs in the scene with Karen?
The audience loved Monica. I could tell that. Whether or not they liked my play, I didn't know. But they loved her, and she was radiant. Monica didn't even change. She was hosting the party and wanted to get out before those hordes of phony well-wishers stormed backstage. In 5 minutes, backstage was a zoo, a jungle. The publicity man had a national magazine he insisted I talk to, so by the time I got to Monica's, the party was in full swing. It looked like the zoo had been moved from the theater to Monica's living room. I didn't see Monica, but the actors buy the food, naturally.
Isn't it wonderful? I've never seen so many famous people before.
They're rented for the evening, but they'll all disappear if their views are negative.
We're gonna be a hit. I just know it. The audience loved it.
You're new to the theater, Karen. First lesson is never to confuse the audience with the critics.
When will we hear about their views?
Someone should film them into Bella.
Oh, so that's why she's in the kitchen.
The kitchen.
By the phone with Lloyd. They're just standing there all evening. They didn't even eat.
The death watch. It's better on an empty stomach.
Alex, where's Monica? The hostess should always put in an appearance.
I guess she wants to make an entrance.
Obviously. But it's a bit overdue, don't you think?
I'll go and get her.
I think that's the bedroom.
Oh, no, dear. That's the study. The bedroom is beyond it. Oh, Leo, let me take those. Monica may need some. Monica! Monica!
Alex, is that you?
Yes, come on out.
Oh, you just a minute.
The natives are getting restless. They would like to see their hostess.
Coming.
Darling?
Some champagne.
Yes, please. In a minute. Put them over there, will you?
What were you doing?
The truth? I was standing on the terrace outside the bedroom, looking over the tops of all the buildings, all the way back to Broadway and all those lights,
Standing on the terrace.
thinking,
But it's beginning to rain.
did my hair come down?
No, no. You look beautiful.
Give me just a minute.
I've seen actors do strange things after an opening night when counting money.
I got it for the bank this morning. Would you believe it? With all the excitement, I ran out of cash. Put this somewhere safe for me, will you? I don't like it lying around.
Thunder. Signs of importance. Let's hope it's not an omen. Oh, what's all this?
That's my junk drawer. There are still things you don't know about me. It's a monocle. Doesn't everybody have one? Girl Scout night, a family heirloom. Well, that's a necessity. There was power outage last night, no lights for nearly 2 hours.
Living with you is going to be an adventure. Which reminds me, the sooner you go out there and face the mob, the sooner we can get them out of here. We've hardly had a moment alone for days.
Alex, I'm getting married tomorrow.
I know, so am I.
In Judge Ebersol's chambers?
Why, yes.
What a coincidence. Noon?
Actually, yes, it is noon.
What good luck. I must be marrying you. But since I am, you see, I'll need all the time I can get to get myself ready. So when I get the troops out tonight, I would like to be alone.
Really?
Do you mind?
A little.
I'll make it up to you. I promise.
That's a good start. Now you go in there and show me what a real star looks like.
Come with?
I'm only the writer. Real stars make entrances alone.
Oh, Monica! Oh, congratulations, darling. You're fabulous.
You're wonderful.
Gorgeous. You're gorgeous. I couldn't get near the bar. I seem to remember Monica kept a tray of spirits in here.
You don't drink.
Oh, that was yesterday, darling.
Have you had a phone call?
3.
Here, Bella. I knocked over the costume designer and got through to the bartender.
Were they that bad?
That is a relative term. As a matter of fact, the reviews were mixed. Some were good, some were bad, but I think the New York Times sent an obituary writer.
That's the regular critic. They say he eats his young.
And if the Times is bad, it hardly matters what the rest are. Sorry, Alex.
What did they say about Monica?
They liked her. Nothing ecstatic. The Post thought she was a little stiff.
I don't want her to see that review.
Can't we try for a run? I mean, her name means something. So does yours.
It's up to the producer.
I'll sleep on it. That is, assuming I can sleep. I'll see the ad agency tomorrow and assess the damage.
But if we could stay open for a couple of weeks and get some word of mouth.
We'll see.
There it is. A storm. It's starting to come down in buckets. Appropriate, don't you think?
There, Alex. We tried our best. We really did. It's the nature of the beast. And there's no beastliness like show beastliness.
Oh, are you leaving already, Miss Lamb?
I thought it was time. The coach turned back into a pumpkin.
Oh, well, good night.
Don't be silly, darling.
Hi. I never did see people leave a party so quickly.
It's a parting the sinking ship. How are you? Bearing up?
I'm all right. Guess it just hasn't hit me yet.
Alex, I don't care about the reviews. I think it's a terrific book.
Thank you, Leo. That's just what I wanted to hear.
I've never seen anything like it. Nobody read the reviews, but they all seem to know. The pianist stopped playing mid-bar, and there's nobody left but the caterers.
I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Listen, you're amazing. I've had a few hits, so I can be philosophical. Well, more or less, right? But it's your first time out, and you're being very stiff upper lip.
I wanted a success, but I care more about the playwright than the play.
My daddy told me never to marry an actress.
Oh, sorry, Monica. I was just wondering if I could borrow an umbrella. It hasn't rained like this since John Huston filmed the Noah's Ark sequence.
Can't you get a cab?
Oh, there's one parked across the street, but the idiot's got his off-duty sign on, of course.
And if we were doing a movie in California, there'd be an earthquake.
That's what I love about New York.
I'm sorry, David. I lent Bella the last umbrella.
When your luck goes, it really goes, huh? Maybe after these reviews, I could use a cold shower. Good night.
Leo and I are going too. Maybe. If it's 3 against 1, we can frighten a cabbie into taking us.
We can certainly try. Come on. Good night.
Good night. See you at the theater?
I still love it.
Are you sure you want me to leave?
Of course I don't want you to leave.
Then?
You have to. An actress has to prepare herself, and so must a wife. I'm going to make myself a pot of tea and go to bed and drink it.
All right. Call you at 10 in the morning and wake you up. Will that give you enough time to get to the judges by noon?
Alex, you do love me.
Very much. Why?
I was such an idiot last week.
That's past history. You were angry.
It's not much of an excuse. Missing a performance and stranding everybody. And that's not the worst part.
Monica, is something wrong?
Not if you love me.
Get some rest, darling. The rain was torrential. The wind whipping it in the sheets along the cross streets. It was just over a mile to my apartment. About a half a block away, I did see an empty cab. He almost slowed down as though to entice me. I guess I was the only passenger walking around New York that late at night. When I got up to the apartment, I could hear the phone ringing from the corridor. Wait a minute. Hello?
Alex?
Monica, I just got home.
Alex, I know how awful it is out, but can you possibly come back here?
What? When?
Right now. Alex, I'm sorry, but please, it's terribly important.
I thought you wanted to be alone.
I did, but
Monica? Monica, hello! By the time I got back, there must have been 5 police cars in front of the apartment. And an ambulance. They were just lifting one of those stretcher things into it. Whatever was on it was completely covered. I tried to get through. I tried to see. But the police wouldn't let me. They told me to go to the apartment. There was a crowd in the lobby. Neighbors, I don't know, some in robes and some in raincoats. An old man with a little dog. When I got up there, the door was open. The janitor was there, a police officer, and a woman. I told her who I was, and she took me into the study. The living room was still a mess. Somehow the caterers hadn't cleaned up after the party. There was another police officer in the study. He was on the phone.
Wells, Monica. Yeah, that's right. She's dead when we got here. It's a 10-story drop.
Perhaps we better wait in the living room. This is Mr. Dennison, Miss Wells' fiance.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No, fiance just walked in. How'd you happen to come by, sir?
She called me.
How long ago?
Half hour, 40 minutes. I couldn't get a damn cab.
Here, take this.
No, thank you.
You better have it, sir. You've had quite a shock.
I really don't want it. She always made herself a pot of tea before she went to bed.
She called him 30 or 40 minutes ago. Okay, I'll talk to him. Call you back. Mr. Dennison. Mr. Dennison?
Yes.
Miss Wells gave a party tonight, sir. And were you here?
Yes, I was.
How was she when you left her?
What?
I was wondering if she seemed depressed.
Listen, maybe we should do this tomorrow. Talk to Lieutenant
No,
Maxwell.
I'm all right. No, she was not depressed.
I guess we're the last person to see her alive.
The caterers, the people were still here when I left. They were cleaning up.
They didn't do much of a job.
Mr. Dennison, do you know any reason why?
Why what?
Why Miss Wells might have wanted to take her own life.
No reason, no. I do not believe Monica Wells would have killed herself.
She left a note.
No, that's not possible.
It's in the typewriter.
Typewriter?
Hey, no, Mr. Dennison, you can't touch that. It's evidence.
Could you please read it to me?
Of course. It says, I'm sorry, but it's better this way.
thoughtful for you.
I'm sorry, Sally. I shouldn't have burdened you with all that. It's just, I've been thinking about it a lot and being back here.
No. I mean, if it helps to talk about it, then...
I don't know if it helps, Sally. Maybe today will help.
You miss her a lot, don't you?
Yes, Sally, do something for me.
Sure.
Go to the stage door, turn left, and go down about a half a block. There's a luncheonette. Sign says Norris. Get me a dozen coffee, cream on the side, and a dozen Danish.
Danish? What's a Danish?
That's New York for sweet roll.
Isn't that odd? Left, half a block, Nora's.
You got it.
I set up some chairs behind the traveler, Mr. Dennis. I think it's enough with this morphine needed.
Thank you.
You want me to open the curtain?
Don't bother, Ernie. I'll do it later. As a matter of fact, why don't you take the rest of the day off?
I don't know, Mr. Dennison. If anything should happen...
Like what, Ernie? Plague, pestilence? Trust me, if I smell smoke, I'll send to the Marines. Go home, open a beer, and soak your feet. I'll take full responsibility.
Somebody just came in.
That's the first arrival. You go out to the stage door. Leave your number on the bulletin board. I'll call you to lock up. Who's there?
It's me. Would you like me up on the stage, or...?
No. Stay somewhere in the back where you won't be noticed. When the others get here, I don't want them to see you.
Got it. Unless anybody tries to leave, I'll come down and talk to them.
That's it. It's essential that they stay here, all of them. If even one of them walks out, it won't work.
It may not work anyway.
What makes you say that?
I don't know. Like I said before, Mr. Dennison, it's your show. I'm just here to watch.
I found it! That Nora is so nice. She's like a real person, you know? Not like a New Yorker at all.
Thank you, Sally, but I wouldn't say that in public. There's about 8 million people who might resent it.
Oh, I guess that's right. Can I put this down? The coffee's really hot.
Ernie set up a table over there. Take them out and make them look as good as you can.
Oh, sure will. I used to get A's in home ec.
Sally, when the others get here, I want this to run as smoothly as possible. You understand what I told you about setting up the scenes?
Uh-huh.
Ernie left more chairs out there. Use them.
Right. Alex?
Hello, Alex.
Karen, my love, come out here and let me get a good look at you.
I want you to know I got up at the crack of noon today just for you.
You've changed, much more provocative.
It's my new image. I got tired of being a sweet little ingenue. From now on, I'm gonna be a sexy leading lady.
Is the image working?
No, in a week. I'm up for the lead in a new show. It's against me and one other girl. Woman.
Good luck.
I think I'll take one of her pictures and stick pins in it. Well, why not? After all, you did say I was ambitious.
So I did. How's Leo?
How would I know?
Oops, I forgot my own rule. Never ask for anyone's husband if you've been away longer than 3 months.
Yes, things do change.
He'll be here today. I'm sorry. Will that be a problem?
Not at all. If I don't look down, I probably won't even notice him.
Could I get you some coffee?
Keep it in your pocket.
Oh no, I was just going to unveil it.
Oh, who are you?
Oh, I'm Sally Bean, Mr. Dennison's new secretary from Maine.
Really? I didn't know they had secretaries there.
Hello? Anybody home?
Who's that?
Just Jack and Jill tumbling down your little hill, Alex. We ran into each other outside.
It was fake. She was getting out of her $30,000 limo, and I was getting out of my $100,000 bus.
Is that Karen?
Hi, Bella. How are you? Hi, Lloyd.
What is this? Remembrance of things past?
Reunions are good for the soul.
Alex, you know, I've always hated this place. Oh, too many of memories. It is only because of my affection for you that I am under this roof again.
Noted and appreciated.
It's been a long time. How are you, darling? Writing, I hope.
Off and on.
Good.
Seems like mostly on.
Oh, mustn't touch. Not yet. We still have to wait for the rest of the cast to get here.
Cast? He's being mysterious. It's the playwright's prerogative. Oh, and it is the producer's prerogative to have a Danish.
What an odd sound. Someone calling an empty theater?
Sally, will you get that near the stage door?
Yeah, he's here. There's a call for you, Mr. Anderson.
Ernie, I thought you went home.
I didn't feel right about leaving.
Take the phone, Sally. I told you it wasn't necessary to stay. I mean,
It's my job to look after
Ernie, I don't want you. Is that clear enough? Go home. You're not needed.
All right,
No. Ernie, what do you mean? Sorry. I don't know what's the matter with the bed. Here, take this for your brother.
Oh, Mrs. Dennis, I couldn't.
Forget it. Oh, you would've
Mr. Santoro?
Alex seems jumpy today. Not at all like him.
Wouldn't you be? This is theater.
And you do realize that it was exactly a year ago today that the play opened.
I didn't even think of that.
I'd swear, this coffee comes from Nora's. She makes the only coffee I've had that tastes like, well, tuna fish. Ugh.
Well, tell them to make it as fast as you can, and you can park the truck in the other bus station.
There you are, Alex. They said you disappeared.
No, Leah, welcome.
To what?
That's a good question.
Oh, I know. It's all a plan to get me and Karen back together.
Don't be ridiculous.
No one told me you were gonna be here.
Is that when you wouldn't have come?
Hey, Alex wants me here. That's good enough for me.
You're being obsequious, Leo.
Okay, I'll stop if you'll tell me what it means.
Alex, whatever you have in mind, shouldn't we be getting started?
Oh no, there's still more to come, right? Unless I missed my guess, it's... Speak of the devil.
Sorry I'm late. Some idiot parked his car on 46th Street and just went home. My lord, it's a rogues gallery up in here. What are we, having a class reunion?
Don't knock it. The man's passing out free food.
Hey!
Get some coffee, David, and we'll begin. Will you all take your seats and make yourselves comfortable?
Oh, no problem. They'll be here in half an hour.
Fine! Perfect. Will you take the scripts and pass them out and set up for the first scene?
Sure. Gee, is this really what it's like in show business?
Nothing's what it's really like in show business.
Leo, old friend, didn't you once tell me you went to medical school?
You mean before I went wrong and became an actor? Yeah. Why?
Well, because I got the hangover of a lifetime and I was wondering if you got a cure for me.
Probably just dehydrated. Have some water.
Doesn't look like there is any. Coffee will have to do.
Will you two join the party?
Comes from Nora's.
Tuna fish taste?
No, this one is more like Western omelet.
All right. Alex, you have the floor.
I would like to thank you all for coming. I'm very grateful. I know I haven't been in touch during the past year, but as you can assume, it was a difficult time for me.
Where were you? I tried to call.
I've been in the Maine woods and brooded. 6 months I didn't look at a typewriter. Naturally, the problem was guilt. Guilt because I failed all of you, but mostly guilt over Monica's death.
Alex, it wasn't your fault.
She was depending on me to give her a success. She needed one. When she didn't get one, she went into a depression and...
Alex, we all felt guilty, but nobody could have predicted that kind of reaction. It was so extreme.
Anyways, that's over and done with. The point is, I finally started writing a new play.
Bravo!
It's just bits and pieces, but it's taking shape.
So that's why we're here.
I want to see how it looks on its feet, and naturally, I'd like your input.
Why us?
Call it making amends. I've written a part for several of you.
This is beginning to sound interesting.
Lloyd, I'd like you to direct. And Bella, my sweet, you have first option, assuming you like it.
Oh, of course, I'll like it.
All right, I've rented the theater for the afternoon, so let's read some of the scenes, talk about it, and see what we got. Oh, and by the way, it's something new for me. A mystery.
Oh, good. They always do well. And you know, if not, you can always sell them to television.
Unusual form. You take the audience by the hand, but lead them in the wrong direction. They trust you, but you betray them. All in the name of surprise.
Sort of turns us into chess pieces, doesn't it?
And that bothers you, David.
In a way. The characters are always cardboard. I like my roles with, flesh and blood.
What's it called?
Killing Jessica. Sally!
I like the title. Is Jessica the lead? If so, who plays her, since I seem to be the only actress here?
The part of Jessica is not exactly cast yet, but I have another part in mind for you, Karen.
Oh.
Don't worry, it's a good part. You'll like it.
Alex, these are unconnected scenes.
As I said, Lloyd, bits and pieces. That's why I need your help.
Well, can you give us an overview?
It's a play about another play, one that's in rehearsal.
And Jessica?
Well, she's the lead. A rather complex character. She made several films, mostly flop. But she was embarrassed by them, so she walked away. She hibernated. She traveled. Then she decided to take a chance on the big theater. Got herself a leading role in a Broadway production, moved to New York, and dedicated herself to her new career.
She sounds familiar.
Does she? Well, I always start from what I know.
Alex. This character, Jessica, if we can believe your title, then someone kills her.
Oh, yes, it's made to look like something else, but it's a murder. David, would you read the first scene with me?
Why not?
You play the leading man, handsome and attractive to women.
Typecasting.
Sally, go over to the light board and pull number 3 and number 7. This scene takes place in the middle of the first act. The setting is your apartment. That's a sofa.
What, am I married?
Several times, but not currently. You've invited Jessica over for a private rehearsal. You've told her it's common practice in the theater.
And she believed me?
She must have, because she comes.
All right. Well, if I'm not reading the part with Karen, then who do you suppose I should
read with?
Yeah.
Me, I'm afraid.
You?
You're in the imagination business, David. Give it a try. If it helps, think of Monica playing the title role.
Monica?
Actually, it's not a bad idea. Just pretend I'm Monica.
Alex,
Let's get started. When the scene starts, you're off stage, and the doorbell rings. It rings again, and you enter.
Coming. Just a second.
You reach the door. Open it. Just think of Monica. It says,
Hi. Am I early or late?
Right on time. Come in. Sorry we couldn't do this at your place, but I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
If you'd rather wait.
No. This is much too important. We have to protect ourselves, you know.
I hope you're exaggerating.
Well, my dear, in the theater, it isn't the director working up there with egg on his face. It's us, and when something isn't working...
Like Act 2, Scene 1.
Amongst other pitfalls, well, it's up to us to provide corrective surgery.
Shouldn't we have told him we're rehearsing?
Why? He's the problem, not the cure. You want a drink?
No, thank you. I'm having trouble with some of these transitions.
You have a very genuine sense of dedication. It's really quite refreshing.
Well, thank you.
That's why I'm glad we have this chance to, get to know each other better. Strangely enough, it can help with the performance. I suppose that's why so many leading men and leading ladies develop such a close rapport. What do you think?
I think we should work on the scene.
There's plenty of time.
Please, we're supposed to be rehearsing.
Are we?
This wasn't a good idea. I think I'd better leave.
Why all the fuss? I mean, it's perfectly natural. We work together every day. We play love scenes.
Let go of me.
What the hell was that for?
Just leave me alone.
Listen, lady. Slaps in the face went out with the bustle. I asked you to come here. You knew why.
Okay, I was naive. I actually thought we were going to rehearse. Now, may I go home?
I don't like being turned down.
And I don't like someone forcing his attentions on me. Especially someone unattractive, egotistical, and a bit too old for me. Now we're even. I hope that made you happy. Good night.
Alex, I'm sorry, but I just don't like it.
Why is that, David?
Well, I mean, first of all, the character's much too old for me. Second of all, the man is totally unsympathetic. I certainly wouldn't come on like that.
How would you come on?
Huh. Privileged information.
No, I'm serious. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you wanted to come on to, I don't know, Monica.
Monica, why do you keep mentioning Monica, huh? Alex?
She was one of your leading ladies, and you do have a certain reputation.
Alex, Monica and I were friends. Co-workers.
Rehearsals can be an intimate process. I got the impression you were attracted to her.
Yeah, well, you were wrong.
It's academic, isn't it? We're talking about the scene here, and I thought you were terrific, Davis. Very convincing. Lights! Any comments? Don't be shy.
Question. What are you going for? What's the point of the scene?
The point, Lloyd, is that in a mystery, everyone has a motive.
You mean he kills her because she turns him down?
I didn't say he was the culprit, Leo, but vanity can be a powerful force.
Nobody will buy it, Alex. Okay? You don't kill someone just because they reject you.
No, but people didn't have any trouble believing Monica Wells kills herself just because she was in a flop!
That was different.
Yes, of course it was. Forgive me. I'll help Sally change the set and we'll move on to the next scene.
What the hell was that? I mean, what's he trying to prove?
Well, I think what he's trying to do. We'll talk about it later.
This is quite wrong, of course, but it's all I could find in the prop room. It's meant to represent an elegant art gallery.
Another set? This play's getting expensive.
It'll all be done in the lighting, Bella. Very imaginative and very cheap. Lloyd, would you read the next scene with me?
Me? Why not Leo?
I'm saving him for his own scene. Do you mind? It's Act 2, page 18.
Got it. Who do I play?
A director.
More typecasting?
It helps me to get a fix on the characters. I'll read the part from Monica again. Oh, did I say Monica? I meant Jessica. And you'll need this.
Alex. This paper's a year old.
Is it? It doesn't matter. It's only a prop. The set is a Madison Avenue art gallery. You'll make your entrance into the scene. The gallery is empty, but Jessica wanders on. She's preoccupied, not really focusing on anything in particular. She needs a few moments alone before the rigors of an opening night. Then she thinks she may have missed something she should have looked at more closely, so she retraces her steps. She's completely unaware that someone else has entered the gallery.
Not my taste.
You startled me.
Next time I'll clear my throat. Is this true?
If you mean the gossip column.
That's exactly what I mean. Is it true?
Yes.
Congratulations. Things are looking up. The actress marries the playwright, and they live happily ever after. With him riding star vehicles for her, of course.
That's a hostile thing to say.
Well, I'm in a hostile mood. It comes from the impression that the actress had an understanding with the director.
And what kind of understanding was that?
Promises of things to come. All the sidelong glances, the body language, requests for help on your part.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that standard procedure?
Not the way you did it. And it served its purpose. Special attention from the director. Tender loving care.
I think that's enough.
Listen to me. You and I really never had a go at it. Why don't we just give it a shot?
You're being serious. Why would I tie myself down to someone like you? No money, no talent, and no future. What's in it for me?
Lights. Alex. You have a contradiction here.
In what way?
Well, just look at her character. In one scene, she's trusting and innocent. But here, she's cold as ice.
The many faces of Jessica. Besides, maybe that's just the way he sees her.
But it's not clear. Did she use him or didn't she?
The important thing is that he thinks she did.
At least it's a better motive than he gave to my character.
I don't agree.
When in doubt, Lloyd, touch base with reality. Let's take the case of you and Monica.
What case?
You were concentrating on her, giving her extra attention.
It was her first time on stage.
Granted, but there was talk that you were going above and beyond the call of duty.
Well, it's not true.
But suppose it was. Suppose you misinterpreted her professional needs for something more personal. And then to find out she was going to marry...
Alex! What are you getting at?
Beg pardon?
Are we talking about the scene or Monica?
That's a good question. Alex, we've known each other for, a long time. So I'm entitled to be blunt. Why are we here?
You know why we're here, Bella, to read my new play.
It's not a play. It's a bunch of unrelated scenes, all of them uncomfortably close to the truth.
The hell they are. I never had her in my apartment.
Who, David? Jessica or Monica?
There is no Jessica, Alex. That's perfectly clear. And you know what? As for Monica...
Yes!
All we had was a professional relationship. Nothing more.
Just like Lloyd's.
I don't know anything about that. I'm speaking for myself.
You're suggesting...
Darlings. We're all friends here.
I'm not so sure.
Will somebody please tell me what's going on?
My sentiments? Exactly. Alex, you owe us an explanation. If not, I've got masses of work at the office.
All right, Bella, sit down and finish your coffee.
I'll sit, but wild horses can get me to finish that coffee.
The truth, if you really want it, is that I am working on a new play. A murder mystery, 5 suspects, and an unknown killer.
Hey, I hope it's me. Makes for a better party.
Shut up.
My, how things change. Remember our rehearsals? You could rarely walk backstage or behind a piece of the set without finding these two locked in an embrace.
Time passes, David. Ingenues become leading ladies, and leading men become character actors.
Please, children.
If Leo and I broke up, it is none of his business.
No, but it could be mine. Actually, I have a scene about it.
You do?
Alex, you're digressing.
Clever for you to notice, Bella. Always business. That's what your scene is about, by the way. But you're right, I should come to the point. It's really very simple. When we finish here today, we'll know something we didn't before.
And what's that?
Which one of you killed Monica Wells?
Which one of us killed Monica?
You're saying she was murdered?
And accusing one of us of doing it. The man's crazy.
Yes, we all know you've been away, Alex. What, did you go on your own, or did they have to lock you up for a little while, huh?
No, David, I'm quite sane.
Then think what you're saying, Alex. Monica wasn't murdered. She committed suicide. And to suggest that one of us was involved...
I didn't suggest, Bella. I made a statement of fact.
They investigated. The police?
The police were wrong.
Alex, we all know you had a terrible loss. We understand your grief, but what you're doing here, it won't bring Monica back. It won't change things.
Then you have nothing to lose by indulging me.
Nothing to lose? What do we have to gain? You bring us down here, make terrible accusations of murder, and you expect us to sit here and politely allow you to continue? You're a good playwright, Alex. You write good parts, but not that good.
All I'm asking
I know what you're asking, at least I think I do, and I think you've got a hell of a nerve, I'm sorry.
Wait.
That doesn't, Alex. Class dismissed.
Excuse me, Miss Daniels, but don't you think you should reconsider?
You.
We met after Miss Wells' suicide. I took a statement from you.
Karen, you remember Lieutenant McElroy?
McElroy. He was the investigating officer I spoke to myself.
What's he doing here, Alex?
I asked him to come. Would you do me a favor, Karen? Step back on stage. You too, Lieutenant.
If you wouldn't mind, ma'am, it'd be helpful.
Perhaps you can explain all this.
Not much to explain, ma'am. Mr. Dennison asked me to be here today. He said he had new information on the death of Monica Wells.
A moment ago you said suicide, not death.
Yes, ma'am, it was suicide. That's my view and the official determination of the medical examiner.
Well, then the case is closed. Why are we wasting our time?
Because the lieutenant is willing to give me a hearing. That's an admirable trait, don't you think?
I'll tell you what's not so admirable. We didn't know he was here.
Mr. Dennison asked me to keep out of sight. Thought I might, inhibit you.
I wonder why.
He agreed to intervene if any of you try to leave.
But you can't hold us here against our will.
No, ma'am, this is all unofficial. You all are perfectly free to go. However, I might have to wonder why you were all so anxious to leave.
So we're back, and what do we have to lose?
Well, frankly, I think Mr. Dennison's on a wild goose chase. I've told him that, but I'm willing to keep an open mind.
It's up to you, Karen.
Like I said, you do write good parts. Perhaps you'll forgive my little outburst and think of me next time you write one.
Thank you. It proves again the power of the pen. So I think I'll just take this object, Darth, back to the prop room and help Sally set up for the next scene.
So we wait. As actors always do, the puppets without the puppeteer.
If we had any sense, we'd have all gone home.
Maybe lose a part for next season.
Shut up! I mean, what's wrong with Alex? A year ago, even at the funeral, he was fine, but now...
A year is a long time. He's obsessed.
No. There's a method to this. He knows what he's doing.
It's a charitable interpretation. He certainly raked you over the coals.
Well, that makes two of us.
Mm-hmm.
Where next? Terrific.
I don't know what he could accuse me of. Monica and I were friends.
He'll think of something.
If you're both so worried, then read the play.
What?
Your scenes. They should be among the rest. Look, forewarned is forearmed.
Right.
And what about you, Lieutenant? You don't actually believe any of this nonsense, do you?
Is it nonsense, Mr. Matthews?
You know it is.
Well, the department likes to be cooperative sometimes.
Let me guess, particularly when there's a certain populist celebrity involved, am I right?
You said that, sir. I didn't.
Well, what's he getting at? I mean, does he actually suspect one of us, or are you just humoring him?
Nothing. No scene for us.
Nothing with your names on it.
Maybe we're not gonna do anything.
After all the fuss he made about me staying.
No, that's not how this works. Trust me. Your pages are probably just hidden somewhere.
What makes you say that?
It's part of his plan. He's got to keep us all off balance. He may be obsessed, Leo, but he's thorough. Very thorough. Just check his briefcase.
Yes, let's.
I don't think that you should.
I don't really care what you think.
It's empty.
Looking for something.
Nice scene. I just wanted to read it through. I hate cold readings.
I have your pages here, Karen.
Oh.
Yours too, Leo. Actually, I'd like you to do a scene together.
You mean I don't get my own scene?
We can meet all to help you forget.
Isn't she wonderful? Right between the shoulder blades.
It's easy. There's no backbone to get in the way.
Children. Sally, would you bring me that telephone?
Was that for our scene?
No, I'm saving you, giving you a big build-up. The next scene is Bella's.
Me? I'm not an actress.
At least you admit it.
Sit down, Karen. Yes. Put them there, please, and get some of the lights. Bella, indulge me. All producers or actresses, just bring your chair along and sit at the table. Sally brought your script. The character will be a breeze for you. You're the producer of a play that's just open to mixed notices. You're at home. The after-show party's over, and the man on the other side of the line is your accountant. It's all yours, Bella.
Hello, Harry. This is...
What name shall I use?
Why not your own?
This is Bella Lamb. Sorry to drag you out of bed, but I assume you've heard about the notices. Yes, the patient isn't exactly terminal, but the vital signs are fading fast. Harry, I know the paperwork is at your office, but I was wondering if you remember offhand the insurance situation? No, specifically the non-appearance clause. Alex, I'm not sure I like this.
What's the problem, Bella? It's only a play.
Harry, I was wondering about the amount of coverage. No particular reason. Just give me a ballpark figure. Uh-huh. Yes, that's what I thought. All right. Thank you, darling. Go back to sleep. Satisfied?
Yes, Bella, very realistic. You may have missed your calling. Lights.
Listen, folks, I know I'm a bit slow, but I haven't the foggiest idea what that was about.
Well, then let me enlighten you, sweetheart. What Alex here is trying to say is that I was the sole investor in Chamber Piece. It was all my money.
All your money?
Well, my husband's, but what's the difference?
So, Bella stood to lose a small fortune, and her husband, unless,
like the producer in this scene, I was covered by insurance. If I kept the show open and the star failed to appear, I'd get the insurance money. Is that your drift, Alex?
Only if you had that kind of coverage.
It's standard. You know I did.
And Monica's death came at a convenient time for
The
you.
woman killed herself. Do you understand, Alex? Whether you want to believe it or not, she was depressed, and she jumped from the terrace.
How can you be so certain, Bella? Were you there?
I get it. Alex is staging Hamlet.
You flipping out, Lloyd?
Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2. The play within a play to catch his father's killer. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions.
The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
That's all very interesting, but why isn't David here?
Do you think he went home?
No, I need him here. He knows that if he walked out.
What's the fuss? Maybe you went to the men's room.
There's someone backstage.
There you are, David. They thought you bailed out. Who are you?
You know who I am.
No. I know who you say you are. Now, suppose you show me some kind of identification.
What's all this about?
Whoever this man here says he is, he's not Lieutenant McElroy.
What?
But I remember him.
No, you only think you do. And there's a resemblance, for sure. Same age, same build. But I'm pretty good on faces. And our friend here is not the man who talked to me the night after Monica died.
Are you sure?
I just got off the phone with the police. Lieutenant Henry McElroy was killed 6 months ago in the line of duty. So now, unless you're a ghost, I figure you probably should tell us who you really are.
Well, I tried.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce a fellow professional, Mr. Frank Heller.
He's an actor.
And a very good one.
Maybe not, Mr. Dennison. They nailed me.
Nothing to do with your performance, Frank. Unfortunately, David has too good a memory.
Are you saying that Alex hired you to impersonate Lieutenant McElroy?
Yes, ma'am.
But why?
Very simple, Bella. For my little psychodrama to work, I had to keep all of you here. And given the nature of the situation, I was sure one of you would try to leave. So I needed, what shall I call it? Official leverage.
Of course. We might walk out on you, but not on the cop.
That was the idea. And since Lieutenant McElroy was no longer among the living.
And since a real police officer would never cooperate.
Exactly. I decided to hire a look-alike. Oh, excuse me, David, and almost look-alike.
Does he know how much trouble he's really in?
What do you mean?
Let me see.
Kind of trouble.
Let me see. Impersonating an officer. That's a felony.
Well, he didn't say he was a police officer either.
That's a pretty large technicality you got there, Alex.
If you're angry, David, blame me. Mr. Heller was just following instructions.
How did you get into this?
Well, you won't believe it, but I went to a rehearsal hall.
A rehearsal hall?
My agent said that Alex Dennison was looking for an actor. Who am I to say no to that?
Go on.
Well, I went to an audition and there were maybe 10 other guys. We all looked pretty much the same. Mr. Dennison interviewed me and that was that. A week later he called, and this time there were only 3 guys. Finally, there was just me.
And what happened when he told you what he wanted?
I thought he was crazy.
Accurate impression.
Tell them the rest, Frank.
Well, first I said no. I mean, I never really got to meet Monica Wells, but like everybody else, I read that she committed suicide. But then Alex explained things to me. He told me why she was murdered and who killed her.
Did he now?
Oh, and of course, he offered you money.
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$1,000.
For a one-day part? For that kind of money, I could have vacationed in Europe.
Okay, I admit the money was important, but you people know how it is. Us actors, we had to scramble for jobs. I've been a hard hat. I tended bar. I've even driven a cab for a while, and that's not much of a life, so when this came along...
You don't have to apologize, Frank.
Anyway, no hard feelings. I hope. You won't be needing me now. I guess I should, be on my head.
No, not quite yet. No one leaves until we're finished.
How are you planning to keep us here, Alex? You don't have your phony cop anymore.
Right, and I've pretty much had a belly full of this.
We all have, Lloyd, but I think we should put up with it a few minutes longer.
What?
On one condition, that Alex tells us why he's so all-fired positive that Monica was murdered.
Think that's your cue, Alex?
Frank, I'll need your help.
What do you want me to do?
Be Lieutenant McElroy again. We've been over this. Give them the case for suicide.
Well, there were no signs of forced entry in her apartment building.
Correct. If she was killed by an intruder, how did he get in? Why wasn't anything stolen? The police found $1,000 in cash on the premises. A thief would have taken it.
She also knew her play was a flop.
So she was despondent.
And she wrote a suicide note as well.
Concrete proof of her intentions.
And after everybody left, she went into the bedroom out the terrace and she
Say it.
She jumped.
In the words of the medical examiner's report, fall from a height. Case closed.
But not for you.
Nobody commits suicide because of bad reviews.
It wasn't the reviews. It was the end of a dream for her.
Alex, you have to admit she was a bit, erratic. I mean, she ran out on a show one day and I had to go on for her. Don't you remember?
Yes. The police made quite a point of that. Monica Wells gets into an argument with the playwright just before the preview. She bolts from the theater, hails a cab, and goes home. Refuses to answer her phone, so we're forced to give a performance without her. She comes back a few hours later and apologizes. Obviously proof of an unsound mind.
I think that's certain proof of something.
Davey! She was in love. She was struggling over whether or not to make a commitment. The tension was too much for her. We fought and she ran out. She came back. It was unprofessional and she admitted that, but it wasn't abnormal.
Alex, I've been listening very carefully, but I'm not hearing any evidence of murder.
She called me that night and asked me to come over. Is that behavior of a suicide?
Maybe it was a cry for help.
Then why did the line go dead in the middle of a sentence?
Because she changed her mind and hung up. The woman was under stress. She wasn't rational.
She was rational enough to make herself a pot of tea. I saw it on the table in the study.
That's your evidence? Alex? A pot of tea?
She was starting a new life, David. She had everything to live for. You saw her at the party. Was that a woman in despair?
Nobody can get into someone else's mind, Alex. Not even the people we care about. Who knows what she was thinking that night?
I know! She was thinking about our future.
Alex, don't you see? Monica did a terrible thing. She not only took her own life, but she rejected you. That's hard to accept. So you've come up with this fantasy about a murder, and somehow it's easier for you to live with.
I take it that means you're not going to help.
I just don't see what else we can do.
Karen, Leo, would you please just read the last scene with me?
Alex, Bella's right. I mean, we're your friends, but we're really not getting anywhere with
Leo,
this.
Leo, it's just a few pages, please.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna get a cab uptown. Does anybody want to share one?
Drop me off at 75th Street.
Come on.
Just a moment!
Oh, what the
Alex, for God's
Come
sake.
back here, please.
All right, fine. But you don't need that.
It seems I do.
Damn it, Alex. Give me that thing before somebody gets hurt! Don't! He's bluffing.
I'm not so sure.
Alex, that's just a prop, right? It's not loaded.
Don't try and find out. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to ask you all to move center stage very slowly. Quickly, please. Center stage, very slowly.
one of you is Alex Dennison?
I am. You are?
Santoro from Santoro Moving and Storage. I got a shipment.
Where's your truck, Mrs. Santoro?
It's by the stage door. Did you want me to unload it?
Sally, will you close the Traveler and show Mr. Santoro to put the things?
Oh, how do I close it?
There's a rope on the wall, dear. Just pull it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Actresses. Okay, guys, jump in.
Lloyd, move that table center. David, bring those chairs on stage. Quickly, please. Frank, help David. Karen and Leo, you come get your seat.
You expect us to act?
That's exactly what I expect.
I'm sorry. Did I get the right word?
Perfect. Come here now, please.
Alex has a gun.
Really? Gee, show business is exciting. Yes, Mr. Dennison?
Here's the floor plan. Make sure the moving men followed exactly.
Right.
Everyone ready?
Alex, we'll cooperate. Just put that away.
All right, in the interest of calming your nerves, but I'll keep it handy. Karen, this scene takes place in your dressing room. That's your dressing table. It's opening night. Leo, you'll make your entrance in a few moments. Ready?
No.
But you'll try, won't you?
Yes.
I'll read the part for Monica again. The scene starts with a knock on the door.
Yes.
It's Monica.
Monica?
Yes.
May I come in?
Yes, of course.
You're not in makeup yet.
Oh no, I won't get in it for another hour. I just wanted to sit here and soak up the atmosphere.
And you're not quite sure which makeup to use, are you?
Pardon?
Well, if I were to get sick at the last moment, you would have to play my part.
Never even crossed my mind. Nobody gets sick on opening night.
No, I suppose not. You were good when you went on for me last week.
The audience was disappointed. I mean, I did my best, but there's really no comparison.
You're being modest.
Plus, what does it matter? I mean, you're here, aren't you?
You seem surprised.
Why would I be surprised?
I brought your tea back. You remember the special blend your grandmother whips up in her country kitchen?
Didn't you like it? It really calms me down.
So you said. Have some before opening night. It's wonderful for the nerves.
It is.
Maybe. But not so good for the rest of the body, is it?
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Then let me see if I could make myself clear. After you practically forced the tea on me, and since your motives are somewhat transparent, I took a sample to my doctor and asked him to send it to a lab.
A lab?
I learned a marvelous new word. Cyclophosphamide. It's an alkylating agent, an odd thing to find in your grandmother's kitchen.
There must be some mistake.
It causes dizziness and nausea. A few sips and I'd be home right now. And you would know which makeup to use.
Monica!
You weren't even willing to pay your dues, were you?
Karen, Oops. Didn't know you had company. Hi, Monica.
This is private, Leo.
Not at all. Stay. The three of us should have a conversation.
About what?
Pick a subject. Opening nights, helping your wife's career, or should we talk about medical school? You did go to one for a few years, right? I imagine you took courses in chemistry.
Hey, that was a long time ago. Why? What's this about?
She knows.
Knows what?
About this. She had it analyzed.
Oh, brother.
All right. We spiked your tea. Wouldn't have harmed you. Just slowed you down for tonight. The question is, what are you going to do?
I told you it was crazy. You wouldn't listen.
Be quiet!
You put people in jail for something like this.
Excuse me, Mr. Dennison, but we're all finished. We'll be back in the morning to pick up the stuff.
Fine. Perfect. Shall we see the set for the next scene?
Another scene? Alex, I hope you know the scene we just played is nothing but lies.
You did bring her tea, she told me.
It was a gift, and there was nothing in it. Plus, what good would it do me? Bella would never open with an understudy.
Would you, Bella? Or would you send everybody home last minute? The critics and press, I wonder.
Alex, use your head. Even if Karen's nuts, I'm not. I'd never help her with something like that.
You were trying to save your marriage, Leah. You would have done anything she wanted.
No way.
Alex, if there is another scene, let's take a look at the set and get it over with.
The voice of reason.
At least one of us is rational.
Just strike this table, David, please. Get ready in the curtain, Sally.
It looks like a real show.
Everyone ready?
Yes.
Sally!
Oh, Lord. That's Monica's apartment.
Very good, Karen. Her study, scene of the crime.
How?
Her furniture was in storage. I had it moved here today in the interest of realism. Lights out.
I'm sorry, but it's better than... Christ, Alex, is that
The original? No, the police have it in their files, but everything else is exactly as it was. The pot of tea, the contents of this drawer, even our champagne glasses. Oh, I wouldn't, David. Monica didn't smoke, so there's no ashtrays in here. Karen, that chair is out of position. Move it stage left.
Well, what now?
Alibis, Bella.
I was wondering when you'd get around to that.
I've established that you all had motives.
The hell you have!
But motives are nullified by legitimate alibi.
You know what, Alex? Then cross me off your list. That night after the party, I didn't want to go home. I went to an after-hours club. I must have been there till 4 in the morning. I have 20 witnesses that could vouch for me.
And I was with my agents. We went back to my place and commiserated.
Bella.
My husband and I took Meg Jones, the columnist, home. She invited us up and we talked for hours. I thought I might get us a mention in the column, and I knew we needed all the publicity we could get.
Karen, that leaves you and Leo.
Easy. As you keep reminding us, we were married then, we went home to bed.
Seems like everyone's accounted for.
Then who was Monica planning to meet after the party?
Who said she was meeting anybody?
She sent me home, Lloyd. On the one night I should have stayed. She also got rid of the caterers. Didn't even give them a chance to clean up. No, she was expecting someone.
You're saying she kicked you out because she was having somebody else over?
It explains the circumstances, doesn't it? After I left, she let him in.
Him?
Or her. There was some kind of argument. She called me. He grabbed the phone and hung up. There was some kind of struggle. She was struck and killed.
And where did all this happen?
Right here in the study.
Why not in the bedroom or the living
The
room?
pot of tea, Bella. She left it in here.
We're back to that again. Alex, she was upset, okay? Maybe she forgot the pot of tea!
It won't wash, David. Not too upset to make herself a pot of tea, but too upset to drink it? Then, of course, all the lights were on when the police came in. And the bedroom door was open.
Yeah, meaning?
Suicide is a private act. She called me. She knew I had a key. I could have come in and stopped her. So first, chain the door, and secondly, close and lock the bedroom door. But she didn't. After the party, she was never in that bedroom alive.
So, let me get this straight. Your imaginary murderer comes in, picks her up, carries her out onto the terrace, and then just what? Chucks her off?
Why not? Instead of an unexplained corpse, he creates a suicide.
And the note?
He searches, finds a piece of stationery in here.
What about fingerprints?
Gloves, handkerchief. He presses this to her fingers, rolls in the typewriter, her prints are on it, his aren't.
Very ingenious, Alex, but even if you're right, even if someone did kill her, it wasn't one of us, unless you don't believe our alibis.
On the contrary, Bella, I hired a firm of private detectives to check them out, and most of them held up.
Most of them?
3 of you were with witnesses when Monica died. David, you were at the club. Lloyd, you were with your agents, and Bella, you were with Meg Jones.
Now hold on.
But you and Karen, Leo, you two only alibi each other.
We were together.
We only have your word for that, don't we?
What are you saying?
There are 5 motives here, all hypothetical, but one of them is real. It's a matter of record. Read it.
This is a laboratory report, a chemical analysis of a tea sample submitted by Monica Wells in April of last year.
What does it say?
The sample was saturated with, I can't even pronounce it, but it causes illness and incapacitation.
I found that among her effects.
It's a fake.
Looks genuine to me, Leo. Easy enough to check.
One legitimate motive and two unsupported alibis.
I'm not going to listen to this.
She found out what you were doing, Karen. Both of you pleaded with her. You asked to see her after the party.
No!
You're the woman who'd stick pins in a photograph to get a part. And you were Monica's understudy.
I never went back
And
there!
who did?
I don't know, maybe Leo!
You were with Leo, weren't you?
Not all the time! He went out for a while.
That's what I wanted to hear.
What are you doing to me?
Well, you did. You said you couldn't sleep and you wanted to take a walk.
How long was he gone, Karen?
I don't know, 20 minutes, an hour?
No alibi, Leo, and a motive.
Don't tell me any of you actually believes this. Okay, I took a walk. Is that some kind of crime? And what about her? If I don't have an alibi, neither does she.
It doesn't matter, Leo.
Why the hell doesn't?
Because Monica was killed in there. The murderer had to carry her out onto the terrace and lift her over the rail. And as you all saw, Karen couldn't even lift that chair. You killed her, Leo.
She killed herself. I'm getting out of here.
Her whole life ahead of her, and you killed her! Come back here, Leo! I warned you! You're dead! Somebody get out!
Where is he? Somebody say something! Tell me where he is!
Light, Sally.
What is this? What's going on?
Where'd you get the flashlight, Frank?
What?
The flashlight. Where did you get it?
Right here, in this drawer.
How'd you know it was there?
I did it! What the hell is this?
Why did you go to this particular drawer, Frank?
It was dark. I opened up a lot of drawers.
No, you didn't. Try that. I had all the drawers sealed, all except one, and that's the one you opened.
So what? What difference does that make?
You went to the drawer because you knew you'd find a flashlight.
What's he talking about? How would I know that?
Because you saw it the night you killed Monica, when you took out a piece of stationery for a suicide note.
He could have seen it. He was there.
He doesn't get it yet.
Yeah, what?
Leo wasn't there at all. After the party, he went home to his wife and 3 children.
And the closest he ever got to going to medical school was, I think, playing a male nurse off Broadway.
I was very good in that.
But he said
We
that...
all said a lot of things. None of them were true.
You all had motives.
I'm afraid not.
You wanted her out of the way.
You mean Grandma's homemade tea? No such concoction. It was just part of the script.
Script?
Listen carefully, Frank. Nothing here today was real. Nothing. The scenes we played, the arguments, they all came out of my typewriter, with a little improvisation from some of my friends.
I thought we were terrific.
As for the motives, we invented them. Karen and Leo were never married, at least not to each other.
How is your wife, Leo?
We're pregnant again.
Congratulations.
David and Monica were close friends. Her relationship with Floyd was strictly professional.
And I never put my own money into a play, and certainly not my husband's. He'd kill me.
Oh, and Frank, before I forget, there's your lighter back.
You kept it.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't do for you to have a lighter in your pocket, Frank. You might not have gone for the flashlight.
Then this whole thing was staged?
For an audience of one.
What about blanks and auditions? You hired me to play a cop.
Just an excuse to get you here, Frank. We had to make you a participant. We even recreated her study so you'd be back where you were a year ago.
And then we agreed that I'd pull the lights.
How did you know about me and Monica?
I didn't at first, but it was obvious she was expecting someone that night.
So?
Earlier that evening, she asked if I could stop someone from working. I thought it was an odd thing to say, and later she was counting money, $1,000.
But that still doesn't explain.
It occurred to me that money could have been blackmail money. She could have been trying to pay someone off.
But
1,000 isn't much, Frank. Who could she think she could buy for that kind of money? And who could Alex Dennison, a successful playwright, keep from working?
An actor, naturally.
If there was a blackmailer and he was coming for a payoff, he'd probably wait outside Monica's until the party was over, and it was raining that night.
Alex remembered that there was a cab parked across the street with its off-duty sign on. I was complaining about it.
I also remembered that Monica took a cab home the afternoon of our fight.
We all know the cliche about out-of-work actors driving cabs.
In fact, Mr. Heller, you did say you drove one for a while once, right?
Every cab company keeps records of its deliveries and pickups. It seems that a Mr. Frank Heller took a fare from Monica Wells the afternoon of our fight. He also had his cab out the night of the murder with no recorded fares.
Then why didn't you just go to the police?
With what? Suspicions? No, we had to prove you were there that night. And since we're all creatures of the theater.
Yeah, you decided to do a number on me. You were good. You were all good.
What happened that night, Frank?
That's right. Without me, you don't have a second act finish, do you? I was parked across the street, waiting for all of you to leave. The party broke up early. Some of the guests even tried to get me to take them somewhere in the rain. I was pretty tense, and having a few drinks in me was just sitting there was just driving me insane. Finally, she sent the caterers home, and I went up. She was expecting me. And she opened the door, but she was carrying a tray of tea things. Hi, Monica.
Go into the study.
Not even a hello, Monica.
It's through that door.
So, how are the reviews?
You don't give a damn about the reviews.
Okay, no polite conversation. You want to get down to business? We'll get down to business. But you were a lot friendlier last time I was here.
This isn't the last time. Frank, I want you to understand something. I was angry at Alex. He opened up some emotions I didn't know I had, and like a fool, I wanted to punish him for it. So when I got into your cab that day...
I couldn't believe it. Monica Wells coming on to me. Invited me up for a drink.
I was using you. Or at least in a crazy moment I planned to, some nutty idea about making Alex jealous. But I came to my senses and I asked you to leave. Nothing happened.
But he doesn't know that. We were together for hours. You even missed one of your performances.
Do you really think he'll believe I picked up some cab driver and let him make love to me?
Maybe, maybe not. But I bet him you'd rather pay a few bucks. Forget this whole thing ever happened.
Nuisance value.
Call it whatever you like. Look, I don't enjoy doing this, but what do I have going for me? I've been an actor for 15 years and I'm driving a stinking cab. I need a stake, something to get me moving again. So, when I opened the newsletter this morning,
You saw Alex and I were getting married.
I figured he was a lucky man. Why shouldn't I be lucky as well?
Look, Frank, I got you into this, so I owe you something. If you leave right now, I'll never mention your name to anyone.
Yeah, not gonna happen, sorry. What are you doing?
I was going to pay you. I took out $1,000 this morning.
We were talking a lot more than that, Monica.
It doesn't matter, because you're not getting anything.
Oh?
I told myself this morning that even if you called it off, I would still tell Alex the truth.
Not very smart, especially right before the wedding.
It's about time I was honest with him. And as you said, either he'll forgive me or he won't. Either way, it's not likely he'll forgive a blackmailer.
Now wait.
I wouldn't want to be you. Alex has a lot of friends. Alex, I know how awful it is out, but could you possibly come back here? Right now. I'm sorry, but please, it's terribly important. I did.
Do you know what you're doing?
I think so.
You're gonna ruin things for yourself.
Why don't we wait and see? You're welcome to stay, Frank. I'm sure Alex would love to meet you.
Don't answer it! I said, don't answer it! Monica! Monica! I called her name. I tried to revive her. I even took her pulse. I could feel it flickering for a few seconds. Then it stopped. When I realized that she was dead, I didn't know what to do.
So you manufactured a suicide?
I didn't want a murder investigation. I cleaned away the blood from the telephone. I carried her out the bedroom and you know the rest. Alex, I've been living with this for a long time. I did what I did, but for whatever it was worth, it was an accident.
Loretta, are you backstage?
Right here, Alex.
Is Lieutenant with you?
He's on his way in.
Here we are, Mr. Dennison.
You heard?
From the very beginning.
Who is that?
Frank meets the man who impersonates Lieutenant McElroy.
But you said he was killed.
Killed in the line of duty. I believe that was the dialogue, delivered as always with my well-known credibility.
Thanks for coming, Lieutenant.
Good thing I did. Looks like I owe an apology.
Not really, I didn't have any proof.
Consider me a convert. You've done our work for us.
I don't look like him at all.
We had to give you a reason for being here today, Frank. One that you believe.
Come along, Mr. Heller.
Alex, if you ever write a play about this, at least I gave you an ending.
Thank you, all of you.
Never thought it'd work.
Especially with me. I kept worrying I'd blow my lines.
I hate to admit it, Bella, but you weren't half bad. I mean, for a non-pro.
You know, there's still one thing I don't understand. And it's why he went along with it.
Frank Heller.
Yeah, I mean, you promised him a lot of money, told him it was a trap for Leo, pinned it on the wrong man and stopped looking. But even so, he knew he killed Monica, so why get involved at all?
For one reason, Lloyd. He's an actor, and I was giving him a wonderful part.
Darlings, it's over. And it's all been too exhausting. I think we all deserve to go down the street to Nora's and have some of her revolting coffee.
Who's buying?
Oh, it's the producer who always pays.
Alex, are you coming?
Save me a place.